All right. Hello, friends. Let's jump right into day 10 of the Ugly Art Club's 5-minute challenge. The prompt for today is landscape. I have to say before we even start that this one is probably one of my favorites, and I will definitely be coming back to this one for inspiration. So I think that's because I'm bringing my loves all together, my background in sewing and quilting and my love for paper and mixed media. I'm bringing that all under one roof in this one, and oh, the texture is just luscious. So I was gonna go traditional landscape colors like, rolling hills greens and browns and all of those things, and use the black and white prompt tag that I printed out. But then I saw that this one is pink, and honestly, my original idea when I saw landscape was pink and oranges, and so I thought, you know what, that's a sign, I have to go with it. So to get me started, I did a little bit of black gesso right around that landscape tag, the prompt tag, and even though I don't know exactly what the page is going to look like yet, I did know pretty sure that I would want that to stand out a little bit from the background, and so I wanted to do that up front to give it time to dry. So I pulled some different textiles, some different fabrics. Some are found materials, quilting cottons. I have some felt. I have some chiffon here, different items, all in this color scheme. And my idea was kind of those rolling hills that you would see, but we're going to do it in like a luscious pink landscape. Man, it would just be a wonderland. Oh, I just love pink though. So I am going to build up those layers now, and I'm going to do some planning, but I want to challenge myself to kind of fly by the seat of my pants here. And part of that is when you're trying to stick to this time limit, it causes you to react faster, not take as much time to think through the possibilities, but just ask yourself what if and just say go with it. In the end, if it doesn't work out, it's only 5 minutes of wasted time, and you know what, we'll probably be learning something in it. So I'm just layering up these pieces of fabric. Now, if you've not used fabric with paper before, you're not familiar with fabric, you don't come from a quilting background like me, that's perfectly okay. One of the things I want to challenge you to do is not think about it like fabric. Maybe if you're more comfortable with paper, think of it in terms that you're doing collage with paper. It's just a bit, flimsier is not the right word, but, softer. It doesn't have the structure to it like paper would. But we can layer it and glue it down the exact same if we want. We don't even have to do this method with the sewing machine if you don't want to. For me, it's just so natural to use the sewing machine to attach fabric to anything, whether that's other fabric or paper, that I find that it's the most comfortable for me. Plus, I love the look that the stitching can give, and it's just another added layer of texture and dimension. I do apologize for any shaking during this video just because of I set the sewing machine up on my table that also has my camera on it. But I knew that the sewing machine would be an integral part for this prompt. And so I wanted to show you guys that whole process. Instead of turning where I normally have my sewing machine and stitching and then bringing it back onto camera, I thought it would be really fun to show you the entire thing so that you can just see how I work and, maybe get over the fear of the sewing machine a little bit. If that's something that you're not quite comfortable with, that's perfectly okay. My biggest suggestion, if you're new with the sewing machine, is just take it slow. In the end, you may be scared that you're going to ruin it or hurt it, but I promise it can withstand a whole lot. So play around, experiment, and I think you'll be good to go. If you have basic questions, let me know and I can help you out with that as well. So I really want to make sure I'm bringing in back that mixed media elements to this. I don't want it just to be paper, or excuse me, just to be fabric. So I'm bringing in, this is my black China marker, and it's kind of like a grease pencil. And as you can see, I was marking directly over the fabric with it. And I can't say that's something maybe I've done before. I really don't know. But while I was making the marks, it was like, well, why not just make it so that it goes over the fabric? And I think that's one of the ways that you can really make it feel integrated with what's going on behind it, is making those marks overlay. If you're doing bringing in another color of paint, maybe going over those perceived borders. So okay, that's the end of my 5-minute timer. I'm actually quite impressed all that I got done within that time period. I think just going for it was super helpful for me so that I could not overthink my placement, not think about what's proper. That's definitely something that I have to think about, since I know what the technical rules of sewing are. That can be something that actually limits me as much as it helps benefit me. I will fully admit that my comfortability on the machine is something that benefits me. I'm not scared of it. I can get in there and do it. But thinking about things in the reverse, sometimes if you know the rules too well, it's really hard to break those rules. And so one of my big things I like to say is that in order to break the rules, it is beneficial to learn those rules, and then you know how to do things properly, but then you can also think beyond it. You can take those basic techniques that you have learned and stack them in different ways and try things out in new ways. And that's where the true innovation comes in, is when we can just start to think about all those basic things a little bit differently and how we can make them work for us. Another thing that I did here, if you noticed with that landscape tag, is I didn't want it to feel like it was just placed directly on top, and so I brought some of those art marks onto top of that as well. Okay, so now I'm working on that complementary spread that goes with the main spread, and at first I wasn't going to do fabric on it. As you can see, like, I moved my sewing machine away. I thought I was going to be done with it. And then I thought to myself, well, why would I do something completely different? Let's make it feel cohesive, but not have it be exactly the same. Again, I'm not trying to replicate the original spread with the second spread. I just want something to feel nice and cohesive with it. And so with some of these scraps that I had left over, I thought it would be fun to create a pattern and do like tall pinstripes would be really fun with the different fabrics laying around. And I like how quick I'm challenging myself to work, because I'm not overthinking which fabric goes where. I didn't overthink what colors should go next to each other. And in the end, if we're pulling stuff from the beginning to be an inspiration for us, it's all gonna match. And so we don't have to be so cautious and spend too much time debating what we should do. I think that's why it does really help for me to pull inspirational items from the very beginning, because then later on, I don't have that decision fatigue that's bound to come when I am stuck trying to figure out what exactly I want to do. I had my thread come unthreaded here a couple of times. I think I was just moving too quickly and not paying enough attention to what I was doing. But overall, these were really simple steps that I brought together for this spread, and I love the way that this one works out. I would love to work with this method a little bit more, with those collaging of the fabrics and really layering them up together. I think it would also be super fun to really bring in more paper elements as well. I think these are so cute together, the final product. So make sure that you guys tune in for tomorrow for day number 11. I'll see you next time. Have a good one.